Good afternoon, colleagues and friends here at Spring Lake Park High School. Today we have another edition of our new staff intro VidCast. And today I'm with Eric Vanbrocklin, who we introduced in Tuesday's staff update. Eric Vanbrocklin is joining us as our Pathways lead. And he comes with a rich experience in the areas of supporting programming, apprenticeships, internships, alternative programming, CTE, business, pathways programming, and we are very fortunate to have him with us. He has a wealth, and his wealth of knowledge and resources. So welcome, Eric.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. We're going to introduce him to you all. I haven't had a chance to meet him, but let's everybody get a chance to meet him. So we're going to start with some questions. Are you ready, my friend?
Sounds good. Yep.
All right. So
Fire away.
the first question we have is, from where do you hold diplomas?
Sure. So my bachelor's degree is from St. Mary's University in Monona. Then I have a master's degree from Mankato. Well, I think I still had Mankato State on the first one. Then my ed specialist degree became Minnesota State University Mankato. So those are my three bachelor's, master's degree, and an ed specialist degree. So.
I have a bachelor's from Moorhead State, and I really struggled to call it Minnesota State Moorhead.
Sure.
So I can appreciate that.
They went and made that switch partway through. So actually, I should say it. My actual diploma from St. Mary's, I predated. I was St. Mary's College. I think I was the last or the second to last group to have college on theirs, and then it turned over to the university. So I got a couple oddities in my deal. But.
Interesting. I also have a degree from St. Mary's, my master's.
Sure.
So fascinating. Okay. But you left off your high school diploma.
Oh, sure.
The one we're all in pursuit of.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody wants to know. This is one I was probably trying to hide. So I grew up in Iowa. So my high school diploma is from a little town of about 1,000 people. The high school is known as Key High School because it was in Alma Key County, K-E-E, but Key High School from Lansing, Iowa. So I'm a Mississippi River rat. Family still lives there and stuff like that. So that's where I come from. So yeah, so I was trying to leave off the Iowa component, but whatever. We'll have to live with it.
I will withhold all my Iowa jokes in this vidcast.
All right.
Okay.
That's fair.
So what's a fun fact about you other tthan growing up in Iowa and being a river rat, a Mississippi river rat, quote, unquote, that others might not know or infer?
I was thinking about this one, but probably the one that's kind of, and now I'll call it an oddity, but when you look at the stats on it worldwide, I run marathons. So I try to run about one a year. I think I've done throughout, I think I started in 2007, but I've done about 14, I think, fulls and another roughly about that many half marathons. And I just enjoy it. I'm not a fanatic on it. I do it when I can. I try to mix it in around my kids' activities and whatnot, but I still do enjoy it. I'm going to be running the Mankato Marathon this fall here, the weekend before MEA breaks. So that's kind of something that's kind of an oddity, I guess, if you want to call it that some people call it crazy, but I do enjoy it, have fun with it. So
I as someone who's very fond of fitness, I wouldn't call it crazy. I might call it abusive.
That's abusive for
Okay.
a few days. Yeah. So if you see me in the hall the week before MEA and I'm kind of like struggling to get up and down the steps, don't make fun of me too, But
so the next question asks, if you could make a living at anything, what would your dream job outside of education be?
I've thought of this in the past for a while when I was younger, but then as I've gotten through it, I like to golf. I'm not good at it. But when I watch on TV or I go to events and say, you get to walk around on pristine grass, usually warm weather, you're protected from people, they're off to the side, it's quiet, and you get to do something that's kind of on you. If I could be, I would never be good enough, not even close, I never was, but if I could be a pro golfer, I really think that, I used to think different things, pro athlete, a business owner, but I've always looked at it, beautiful climates, beautiful surroundings, it's quiet, it's serene, you're kind of with other people, you can talk, but it's not, if I could be a pro golfer, that would be a dream.
Huh.
So.
Well, we do have a current alumni who is currently on the PGA tour.
Mr. Merritt,
Mr. Merritt, and his mother actually worked with me in Fridley.
Okay.
Amazing family, and many staff know the Merritts.
Sure.
Amazing
okay.
family.
Yeah.
So what led you to this career? Since you're not that professional golfer, what led you here?
Being bad at golf, right? No, I'm kidding. No, I just always had good. People have asked that too. I had good teachers growing up.
Okay.
I liked school. I had fun in school. I liked the activities, the athletics, different teachers. I like hanging out with my friends. Not every teacher was perfect. Not every student was perfect, including myself. But just the background I had, I always liked education. I'm one of those odd people. I went into college as a freshman knowing I wanted to be in education. Now, I'll be honest, I wanted to be a teacher and coach. I was a baseball guy and did all that kind of stuff. But I always knew I went right in, got into education, never changed from that, and I've never really changed since my career. But yeah, it was all about the people that and that's why, not to be, say about, but what an impact we can have, on young people.
Absolutely.
Good or different. At least it makes them aware that they maybe like it or don't like something, but either way you're having an impact. But that's why I got into education. I like the people I interacted with, the teachers I had, and it just kind of stuck with me. So,
what is a profoundly impactful career? Speaking of which, what is something in your work with students, a moment of impact that you are proud of, or that continues to resonate with you?
So I've done both, as you said earlier. I've done alternative education, I've done regular education. I started my career at Egan High School, 2,300 kids, big building, big thing. So I've had that environment, but I've also been in the 80 student alternative learning center. So probably the biggest impact I've seen throughout all that time was, I always say, we do all this work for months and months and months, and then it kind of culminates in a graduation day, right? And so that graduation can be an hour, and hopefully if Mr. Boucher doesn't talk super long, it's less than an hour, right?
Hopefully.
And if it's hot, I'll go, all that good stuff. Anyway, the point being, I've seen for years, especially we got into some of the alternative, we had kids who was their first graduate in the family, their first graduate of a brother or sister, even older, but just to see that impact and to see what it meant to the family, and sometimes helped impact the parent, impact the kid. But that's why I always used to say, as we're working forward, and as you struggle, you have your good days, your bad days, is like, what's the outcome?
Yeah.
And the outcome is they're going to get something that they'll never be able to be taken away. So if they can get to that diploma, and it doesn't fix everything, but it does check off a major box on an accomplishment that for a lot of these kids, their families haven't had before. And hopefully it puts them on a pathway to, good things down the road. But that's probably the thing that resonates with me, just seeing that. I didn't get that right away when I first started at, graduation was, we all did it, right? But when you start seeing these other kids and families that didn't do that, they didn't have that opportunity, then you see that, it kind of made me rethink the real purpose that we're in here doing what we do every day. So that's always resonated with me. It'll never not resonate with me. So
I appreciate that's an example of the opportunity we have as educators to make generational change. That for that student who's the first in their family, that now becomes a new standard for their children and or further education or further opportunities. And I appreciate that. What is an example of your jagged profile? And again, for our audience, a jagged profile is a place where we don't fit a classification or we don't fit neatly into a definition of a category or a type. So with that, what's an example of your jagged profile?
I think, as you explained to me earlier, gave me the cliff notes on it. Probably that at times people tell, that I'm too stoic, or maybe at times like that on certain things. I am kind of like I say, I always tell my wife I'm an introverted extrovert. I can be very extrovert when I need to be. When I talk to people, talk to business, but I can go and talk in front of people who had to do it in my job, or whatever. That doesn't scare me anymore. It doesn't bother me. But that's not my initial personality. So if you see me in a hallway or whatever, and if I look like, I kind of got this Breaking Bad look, so that's not a hobby I have, trust me. But, but that's not really who I like to have a sense of humor, keep things light. But I do come off, I might come off as a stoic. Okay, that might be the jagged edge that I look like, but in reality, I just, I'm approachable. Talk to me about whoever, whatever. I like hearing about all kinds of new things, and I haven't experienced everything in my life, so I would like to hear what other people have experienced so I can learn from it. But so that would probably be my profile. That might seem unique to people with this, look of a, hey, my shaved head isn't by purpose. There isn't any grass on the prairie, so those of you that grew up in Iowa. But that's not who I am. I'd be happy to talk to anybody and everybody and any kid, anything, so.
Well, Eisenberg, that then leads us to our next question.
Don't last the last.
What is, as you think about this school year, and you're joining us in the Pathways lead position, what is an aspiration you have for this school year? If the school year ends wildly successfully, what is something you hope is part of that wildly successful experience for you and students?
It's really about exposure to to all careers, all opportunities. I mean, I view things as opportunities, not, just like when the kids come to school, they have opportunities to do things. They have choices too. They can make a good choice, bad choice, but it's about giving them the opportunity. So if I leave here in June this year, at the end of the year, and we say, what did we do? I mean, my hope is that through the counseling office, through your office, through the whole building, that I've helped to give teachers, parents, students, everybody an opportunity to be exposed to more things. And we all don't know what our pathway is. Like I said, as explained earlier, I'm kind of an oddity maybe in some ways. I knew what my pathway was and I stuck with it. Well, that's not normal. I mean, the stats will tell you that most people have 10 different careers now, and that's pretty normal.
By 30.
Yes, and that's pretty normal. We don't think that way, maybe, some of us who've been in education for a while. So my hope is that for these young people, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, that they're not making a career choice then for the rest of their life, but they're being exposed to the opportunity to find out what may or may not intrigue them. And I would say that happens in classrooms, it happens outside of here. But that's my hope and my goal, is that when we get done this year and then we just keep building on it, how do you expose them to as many different things to find out what they do like and what they don't like, and then they can kind of choose that pathway as they go forward. So
that's a great aspiration. That's part of why we hired you.
Well,
so
I
I'm hopeful
appreciate
that aspiration becomes actualized.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Well, thank you for joining us, everybody, on another introductory staff vidcast in this episode with Eric Vanbrocklin, our new Pathways lead. We're excited. Please join me in welcoming him to our SOPHS family and community. And let's make today awesome. Take care.